Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to get started. Apologies for our late start. We had a training happening right before this, but never a dull moment. We're going to jump right in. All righty. Hello, welcome. Let me know where you're tuning in from. We have Sarah, Jen, Michelle, Hannah. In the Boston area. Nice. Fort Worth. Okay. Ooh, love Charlotte. Oh my gosh, I love Toronto too. New York City, I'll be there in November. Awesome. Well, welcome in. Orlando. Ooh, I lived there for 3 years actually. I went to UCF. So excited to have you all here. We'll go ahead and dive right in. Before we get started, you know yourself better than anyone. If you need to turn off those distractions, go right ahead. Put your phone on D&D, close the door, put your headphones in, AirPods in, you name it. I'm going to share about 40 minutes, maybe a little bit less of high value content. So if you commit to this, it will make a huge difference for you. Quick note, this will be recorded. So if you need to go back to this in the future, or maybe you are a replay watcher, it will definitely be available for you. If you have any questions, I'm also part of the wonderful community, so feel free to reach out, and I'll also share towards the end.
Promise, they're doing the game. Do you want to play with your friends?
I'm gonna
All right,
kindly
bring me the
mute
iPad real quick.
so we can continue. But what I was saying, yes, so I'm part of the wonderful community. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. And a little bit towards the end, I will also share some information about how you can have further support with me. So tag us on Instagram. You can tag me at Travel with Tinsley. You can tag Wonderful at Wonderful Creators. Let your audience know that you are leveling up. You are learning more about working with brands, and they should look forward to a lot more new content from you soon. And then before we jump into things, just want to give a brief background about myself in case you've never attended a workshop with me before, or perhaps you are returning and didn't know a little bit about me. To introduce myself, I'm Tinsley. I am a travel marketing strategist, influencer coach, content creator, and also a digital nomad. In the past 6 years, I have worked in the travel and tourism industry. It is literally my pride and joy. And I've worked in this industry in 3 different ways. So I've worked with travel brands as a creator myself. So I've worked primarily with hotels, creating content for them, promoting their unique offerings and their services. I have also managed travel brand campaigns as a strategist. I actually still do this today, meaning I am the one behind the scenes, inviting influencers to hotels, inviting them on press trips, and pretty much doing all of the heavy lifting when it comes to scheduling your spa services, your dining experiences at a hotel, and also ensuring that you deliver well on your content and promote our hotel and destination in the best way possible. Another way that I work in this industry is I help influencers work with brands as a coach. So I help influencers, bloggers, and content creators learn more about the travel brand side so that you are able to land partnerships with travel brands. So some travel campaigns that I've worked on include Montage Hotels and Resorts, Tradewind Aviation, Visit Panama, the New York State Division of Tourism, which is the Tourism Board of New York State. That is everywhere in New York except for New York City. And that is just to name a few. So some amazing wins that my influencer clients have achieved include landing their first hotel collaboration. That's always a big celebration because once you land that first collaboration, it tends to be a domino effect. And that's simply because on the brand side, once we hear that a travel brand has had a great experience working with a certain creator, then everyone in the industry starts to reach out to you. So another thing that my influencer clients have achieved is being invited on press trips by tourism boards, as well as getting paid to stay at hotels. So just to share a little bit of background about what really made me get into the coaching side is that when I started out as a travel blogger, I noticed that I just felt like a big fish and a small fish in a little pond, shall I say. It just seemed like all the big time travel creators, the ones with like 100K followers, 4K drone footage, you name it, they had like the perfect content. It just seemed like they were the only ones that were landing all the travel brand partnerships. So even though I did feel like it was a little difficult for me to pretty much maneuver my way into the industry, I just kept going. And after a while, I landed my first paid brand partnership. And a month later, as I mentioned, that domino effect, I landed my first hotel collaboration. And this is during the pandemic. So I love to say this only because if I was able to land a hotel partnership during a pandemic, I know that you could land one right now. If you already have, congratulations to you. I'm sure that this is only the beginning to your success. And really just going back to when I landed my first hotel collaboration, it really opened my eyes to notice that travel brands are leaning on influencers now more than ever. And of course that was, at the midst of the pandemic, and it's also still to this day in what are we, summer 2023, travel brands love working with influencers and they really see it as a way to further promote their destinations on social media platforms. So, to jump into things today, I do want to share just a couple of wins that my students have achieved. So, first up, we have Ayana. She said Tinsley is such a great coach and mentor. She's friendly, has been in the industry for years, and provides the best support for creators. As well as Alondra Flores. She worked with me for about 3 months and landed her first paid partnership. And went on to do amazing things from there. You have Taylor, who landed an Airbnb partnership, and this was a paid one as well. This is through her UGC content, also known as user generated content. I always trip over that one. And then Mia, so she is a travel blogger as well as a travel journalist. And through working with me, she got her pitch accepted for a large travel magazine. And she got approved for a press day at one of the most luxurious hotels in the state of New Mexico. So, if you are interested in results like that, let's jump into how to create a media kit because this truly is the foundation to travel brand partnerships. Alrighty. So sometimes Canva likes to play games and it doesn't load my images, but it's okay. We're just going to imagine that that image is just of me writing out a beautiful media kit. So basically the way that I like to explain what a media kit is, because this is like the best way for people to be able to grasp its concept, is that a media kit is like a resume for an influencer. So your media kit is what helps the brand determine if you're a good fit for the job. So similar for a regular job resume, your resume is what helps the employer decide whether or not your experience is what qualifies you for the job. And also your skill set as well. So, your media kit should tell a brand three things. One, who you are. So, this includes your title or role. We'll jump a little bit more into detail about what that looks like, but know that your media kit should definitely show who you are. It should tell what you do. So, whether that's your niche or any interest that you have, and it should also tell who you do it for. So, let's jump into what this will look a little bit like. So, what a role is basically how you identify yourself as a creator. So are you an influencer, meaning you primarily post content on your social media platform and you are looking to work with travel brands, or you are in the actual process of working with travel brands to create content on your social media platform. So that's more so what an influencer would do. A content creator or a user generated content creator is someone who more so creates social media content still, but they are creating that social media content to deliver to the travel brand, for the travel brand to post on their Instagram account or their TikTok or their YouTube. And then, of course, we have a blogger. I'm sure we all know what a blogger is, and also a photographer or videographer. A journalist is another one that I like to speak to because it still falls within the public relations department, which is primarily what influencer marketing falls under as well. Things do work a little bit differently for journalists. However, travel brands still work with journalists and travel writers in the same capacity that they would work with influencers. So they also get invited on press trips. They all still are able to land hotel stays and airline opportunities. And at the end of the day, they're all creating a form of content. So these are the six main roles that travel brands work with influencer creators, shall I say, in the industry. So it's always great to be able to choose one role. You may have more than one here, but at least have one of them and be able to include that in your media kit, because that is great for us to know when you're pitching us. So as far as interest, so interest is another one that I mentioned. You may have probably heard of interest as more so being a niche. Um, I say interest because I take the perspective that you shouldn't cover just one thing. If you want to, that's completely fine. Do you, boo? But I think that you should allow yourself to branch off and talk about a few other topics. Now, you don't want to talk about too many topics, because then that will make it not only difficult for your audience to decide if they want to resonate with what you're talking about or not, or if they even can, but on the brand side, it's hard for us to decide if we want to work with you, because are you talking about content that touches on the way that we would like to position ourselves? So for an example, with interest, it would be easy to find a luxury hotel that is pet friendly and also eco friendly and also family friendly. But all of these other components may not be offered at that hotel. So when you are looking for brands to partner with, it's always best to partner with a brand that is like spot on when it comes to your niche and when it comes to your interests. Not only does it make it easier for us on the brand side, for us to say, okay, this influencer is literally in alignment with who we are and what we do. This is like a no brainer. We have to say yes to them. Opposed to if you were reaching out to them and maybe you are a budget blogger, a budget travel blogger, but you're reaching out to a luxury hotel. Like that's pretty much the opposite. Your audience is not in alignment with who that luxury hotel wants to target, so that will be an automatic no on the brand side. So choosing interest really helps out a lot. Of course, when it comes to content creation process for yourself as a creator, you know that you can create content around these main 3 to 4 categories, and that your audience is going to gravitate towards you because of that. And also on the brand side, we can see whether or not you will be a great fit. The other part, the third part is audiences. So very similar to interest, but we're getting a little bit more specific here. When it comes to audiences, I recommend 2 max. You don't want to get too crazy here, because then you're going to be speaking to different people when you're creating content, which could oftentimes result in unclear messaging, and you want to make sure your messaging is spot on, because that is what ultimately drives the traffic towards the brand's products or services, and that's what they would like to see. Of course, depending on the brand partnership, brands are not going to be very shall I say, brands are not going to be very keen to see sales from a influencer collaboration. It really just depends on what it is. If it's a press trip, maybe yes, but if it's just a one-off collaboration, usually things that brands would like to see is some type of um visibility or just brand awareness. So this could be like an increase in followers for them, or increase in viewership, or more visitors to their website. So ultimately, at the end of the day, it's always great to have those 3 components. And just for a quick review, that will look like you establishing who you are. So your title or role, what you do, your interests or your niche, as some would say, and what you do it for your audience. Now, before we move on, one thing that I do want to mention is not to stress this. I tend to see a lot of creators do this in the beginning. What you choose doesn't have to be what you stick with for the rest of your life. Don't feel like you have to pigeonhole yourself and, if I choose budget travel, I have to do budget travel for the rest of my life. No, you can always switch over to different things. However, it's great to get very clear and establish what you what you want to be known for right now so that you can grow an audience, so that you can create great content around it and work with travel brands that are in alignment with that mission. So that is the first part. Before we move on, I'm going to check the chat. If you have any questions about your role, your interest, your audience, feel free to drop them. And welcome in for those who joined us a little bit after the hour. The first question I asked is, I would like to see where we are all tuning in from. So I saw we have a New Yorker, some Texans, Chicago, ooh, Pensacola. Oh, that's awesome. I'm in Florida too. I'm based in Tampa. Memphis, Tennessee. Love it. South I almost said North Korea. Oh my gosh. South Korea, that is very different. Isn't it like 6 a.m. for you? If it is, thank you so much for joining. That means the world that you're skipping out on sleep for this. Alrighty, so I'm going to move on to the essentials of a media kit. So there are 5 things that I would say absolutely should be included in a media kit. The first one is your bio and headshot. So the bio should be very short. Don't feel like you have to write your full life story. Actually, on the brand side, we would prefer if you do not. But it's always great for us to know who we're hiring. So it's great for us to know a little bit about you. So I recommend including a short bio, less than 100 words if you can, and share something such as, where are you based? What kind of content you create? What is your mission? And then for your headshot, this should be something where it doesn't have to be 100% like professional, but I think that a great headshot is one that of course includes your face, and that you are looking at the camera and you don't have any sunglasses on. Also, I wouldn't recommend wearing a hat that covers your face a lot. A hat is fine. Like you'll see in my example media kit, I'm wearing a hat, but it isn't covering my face too much. So it's still a great headshot. A little bit more on bio is that for your mission, I sometimes have questions on, well, how should I word this? I think that some things that you can some questions that you can answer is, why do you create content? Is there a specific reason why you create content, or a specific audience that you create it for? Like what drives the purpose of you creating content? Also, what inspires you and why you are passionate about your work. So I think those are just some great things to answer as you are deciding what your bio should be on your media kit. I put here an example. It says Tinsley is a travel influencer and content creator with over 6 years of experience in social media marketing. Known for her love for travel and all things business, Tinsley is passionate about helping female creatives ditch the 2 weeks vacation by going after the well-traveled lifestyle they've always dreamed of. So that's the first thing I would say, definitely including your media kit, is a bio and headshot. The next thing is your contact information. So your contact information should absolutely include your email, your phone number. Your address is optional. I think this is helpful when you are working with product-based brands. So if you want to talk about travel product-based brands, maybe it's like a suitcase line, or maybe it's packing cubes. It'll be nice for the brand to already have your address right there so they know where to ship it. If they have to ask you over email, that's fine too. But I do think it's helpful when you're working with product-based brands to just go ahead and have the address on there. And then of course, links to your most active social media accounts. Now, I say most active social media accounts. If you haven't posted, for example, on your Twitter in the past 4 to 6 months, I wouldn't include your Twitter on your media kit. I think that your media kit should include accounts that you have posted on in at least the past 4 to 6 months, because on the brand side it's hard for us to determine if you will be a great fit to partner with if you haven't posted on your social media. So definitely include the links to your most active social media platforms. Now, if you're someone that is on several social media platforms, then I would include the ones that you see yourself working with brands on. So right off the bat, I definitely think Instagram would be one, TikTok for sure. If you have a YouTube account that you post consistent content on, that will be a great one as well. Those are the main three platforms that brands love working with creators on. Depending on the audience, if it's like, I don't want to say, if it's like a millennial audience or like Gen X, I would say Facebook is another great one as well. But brands will love to see like maybe like the top three. I would say I wouldn't go overboard and include like 6 different social media platforms. I would just include, of course, the ones that you plan on creating content for a brand partnership. The third thing would be audience demographics. So this is broken down into 3 parts. The first thing is the top 3 cities or countries that your audience is based in. So my recommendation, I would include the top 3 cities if you are pitching to work with a brand, a travel brand that's based in the United States or within your country that you are based in. So if you are based in the UK, then I would include the top 3 cities. Now, if you are an American and you are pitching to work with a brand, I don't know, in Switzerland, then I would include the top 3 countries that your audience is based in. This could be, what I want to say is this, say for example, 90% of your audience is based in the US and you're pitching a brand that works in Switzerland, then okay, you don't have to say that 90% is based in the US and like 3% is based in, I don't know, Mexico and 2% is based in Canada. Ultimately, we just want to know where a large portion of your audience is based. If I would say if over 75% is based in the United States, then break down the cities. Also, if most of your audience is based in the United States, or within your country, and you are pitching to work with a hotel or a travel brand that's within your country, it'll be great for them to know that as well. So I hope that's not too confusing. Basically, you just need to break down the top 3 cities or countries that your audience is based in. This is important for the brand to know. On the brand side, what matters the most, and this is what I feel like I have to say to creators the most, because I understand that it can be easy to think, oh well, my following's not large enough, and like not enough people are commenting on my content, and it's easy to just get really caught up in the vanity metrics. But at the end of the day, on the brand side, what matters the most is your audience demographics in alignment with who we're trying to target. So it's less about whether you have 1,000 followers plus or not. It's more about within those 1,000 followers, are they actually people that we're trying to target? So I put an example here for top cities. My top cities are Orlando, Tampa, Mexico City, because I used to live there. But that's just an example of the top cities that you could put on your media kit. Another part of the audience demographics is age range. So age range is huge. I will tell you, I don't like to say this, but this is true. For luxury hotels, they tend to like to work with influencers that have a millennial audience or older. So if your audience is like 18 years, between 18 and 24 years of age, and it's a large percentage of them, luxury hotels and just luxury brands in general, like private airlines and stuff like that, they're likely not going to want to work with you because they want to target an older demographic, simply because an older demographic tends to have a higher salary that can afford I don't know, $600 a night at a luxury hotel. So exactly. Thank you, Jen. So that is definitely what I know for sure, because I represent a lot of luxury hotels and I hate to turn down influencers that literally are such a great fit, but we just can't for the sake of who we're trying to target. But when it comes to age range, it's great for you to include this on your media kit for us to know, is it the age range that we are trying to target? And then the last one is rather are not, well, the percentage of your audience that identifies with male or female. So another one that helps a lot, even though I don't like to, say, well, typically females are more interested in this and males are more interested in this because of course, different people are interested in what they want to be. Like, there's no such thing, in my opinion, as a male thing or a female thing. But of course, on the brand side in traditional marketing, if it's more so something that's golf related, we're going to want to target more men than women. So this is great for us to know on our side. So another part of audience demographics that you should definitely include on your media kit. Alrighty, so the fourth part is top analytics. So the top analytics, I would say share 2 to 3 analytics that you are most proud of. So this can be your follower count, this could be your engagement rate, or the average amount of reach or impressions you receive on your stories or reels, for example. If you don't feel confident putting your follower account or your engagement rate, then don't put it. You put between 2 to 3 analytics that you feel most proud of. So I just put an example here of my Instagram followers, my engagement rate, and my average story views. You can get creative here. You can choose whatever analytics you would like to choose. But I think at the end of the day, what matters is like what you're most proud of. Like, put your best foot forward here, because on the brand side, we may see, okay, well, she only has, I don't know, 2,000 followers, but like her engagement rate is a 15%, which is incredible. We would love to see that. So put the analytics that you're definitely most proud of. And then the last one is your services. So put between 3 to 5 services that you offer. This can include Instagram carousels, Instagram reels, affiliate posts, press trips, travel experiences. The list goes on of different deliverables and services that you offer. I put here without including flat rates. I personally believe that you shouldn't put your rates on your media kit. I think that it ultimately doesn't give you negotiation power, meaning that if you charge $500 for a, I don't know, for a reel on your media kit, but the brand had in their mind that they were willing to pay you 1,000, do you think they're still going to pay you 1,000? Probably not. They're going to pay you the 500. So I recommend not putting your flat rates on your media kit. You can still put your rates on your media kit, but if you do, I recommend putting real start at $500 so that the brand knows that it's $500 plus. But as far as a reel is $500, I just personally don't recommend it. I think that it could, again, just hurt your negotiating power when it comes to potentially getting paid more for brand partnerships. So let's talk about some bonuses. So I call these bonuses because I really encourage you not to get too caught up when it comes to this. The first one is a logo. Like, if you have a logo included on your media kit, I think it's a great bonus. If you don't have it, do not stress it. Still pitch to brands. Don't let this hold you back for weeks, please. I feel like I see this too much. If you have a logo, cool, put it on the media kit. If you don't stress it. Or, if you want to get one, but don't let it hold you back from pitching to brands and sending off your media kit. Like, we're not looking for logos, trust me. The second thing is past experience. So if you partner with brands before, I definitely recommend including that on your media kit. But here's the key. The key word here is related. So I recommend including past collaborations on your media kit only if they are related to the brand that you're pitching to. So I put some examples here for travel brands that are related perhaps to another travel brand that you're pitching to. So say if you worked with United, Four Seasons, or Visit Florida, which is a tourism board for Florida, then those will be great brands to include on a media kit for a travel brand that you're pitching to. But I wouldn't recommend, like, say you're pitching to Delta Airlines, I wouldn't recommend putting that you partner with Dunkin' Donuts. Like, I think it's awesome that you have experience working with brands, but at the end of the day, we want to see that you have experience working with travel brands, and if you don't have it, then it's best to just not include it. So this is a bonus. If you have it, great, include it. If you don't have it, don't let this hold you back from pitching to brands. Trust me, we're not looking to see if you have past experience. If you have it, that's awesome. If you don't, that's awesome too. The third one is testimonials. So we love to see on the brand side what past brand representatives have said about working with you. So I put an example here of a testimonial. This one says, Tinsley was the perfect guest on our summer group press trip. Our team loved how communicative she was throughout the planning process. She responded to our emails in a timely manner. She shared her deliverables immediately after the press trip. Her level of professionalism exceeded our expectations, and we look forward to working with her again. This is a fake testimonial, by the way. But just to give you an idea of what a testimonial would look like on a media kit, and also to encourage you to ask for testimonials after you are finished working with these brands. But again, testimonials are a bonus. You do not need to have it. Do not let it hold you back from working with brands. But if you do have one, definitely put on your media kit because it'll be great for us to see on the brand side. Alrighty. So quick review, some essentials for a media kit, your bio and your headshot, your contact information, audience demographics, top analytics, your services, and then for bonuses, your logo, past experience, and testimonials. Any questions? I'll check the the chat. Can you talk about how to calculate your engagement rate? Yeah, so I personally don't like how Instagram has this thing where basically you can't see your overall engagement rate. In order to really calculate your engagement rate on Instagram, for example, you have to pretty much add up all of your analytics for your stories and your reels and then your carousels and then divided by a certain number. It's a lot. My recommendation, there's this website, we use it on the brand side too whenever we want to look up an influencer's engagement rate. There's this website, it's called Planex. Here, I'll put it in the chat. How do you feel about Hype Auditor? I never heard of that one. I'll have to look at it. Hold on, let me put this one in the chat so you can look it up. But basically this site, if you go on here, they have an engagement rate calculator. All you have to do is type in someone's Instagram handle and it automatically calculates their engagement rate. I'll check out that one that you're talking about though. Is it Katerina? It's similar. Okay, yeah. I've never heard of that one before. I know that on the brand side we use that one. Of course, I can't speak for all brands, but that's a really popular one that I shared on we use on the brand side. If you're trying to do it across multiple platforms, Michelle, you can pretty much get the average of your Facebook and your Instagram engagement. Alrighty. So here's an example of a media kit. This one's mine, as you can see. But you see how it's one page. That's another key thing. I recommend that your media kit is very short. I have seen out here that people have 10-page media kits, and I'm like, for what? On the brand side, I'll be honest, we are not reading 10-page media kits. We do not have time. I barely have time to read a 1-page media kit. So I'm literally on these media kits scanning them whenever creators pitch me or whenever I'm looking to work with certain creators. That's why I say a short bio is great, one underneath 100 words. I'll read a 100-word bio. But all of the other things where there's paragraphs and there's so many pages, we don't look at it. I'll be honest. So I prefer you to not waste your time and put together such a long media kit and just make it 1 page, make it 2 pages max, and really ensure that it has these key components on here. Another question that I actually got asked in a group program that I'm running right now, a creator brought up just really a media kit holding her back from working with brands. Well, for pitching brands, because she's trying to create her media kit, make sure it has all these things, and it's taking her weeks. Media kits is not the end all be all when it comes to working with brands. I think it is a great add-on. So if you're pitching a brand and you want to work with them, of course include your media kit. I think it will be a great way for us to see who you are, what you're about. But if you really want to pitch to a brand, but like a media kit's holding you back because you're not done with it, I recommend still pitching. Like we're not we're not going to decline your request because you didn't include a media kit. Like it's fine, trust me. Um so I recommend still pitching the brands, but if you do eventually get your media kit, definitely include it with your pitches. Alrighty, so um just to answer some more FAQs about media kits, how long should it be? In which I went out pretty much got ahead of myself here. It should be 1 to 2 pages. Unless it includes a portfolio or case studies. Since we have about 20 minutes left of this, I'm really gonna fly through the portfolio portion, but I do want to show you a little bit about a portfolio. And just to say that your media kit is okay to be longer than 2 pages if your portfolio is included or case studies, because on the brand side, we would love to see this. And it's great if it's all included in one document. Um, as I mentioned, does a media kit make or break your chances of landing a partnership? No, it does not. Do not stress this. But I love going over media kits, of course, because it's a great cherry on top to your pitch. Another question I get is, what if I'm a UGC creator, meaning I'm not creating content to post on my social media, I'm creating content to post on a brand social media. It's still great to have a media kit, but of course you don't have to worry about the analytics part. Like you don't have to worry about putting your average Instagram reel views and stuff like that, because it technically doesn't matter, but it's still great for us to see like what services you offer and your bio and your contact information. So I still encourage you to have a media kit if you're a UGC creator. Alrighty, so as I mentioned, I'm going to fly through this portfolio part, but I did want to include this as a bonus to this overall training because I do think that it is very relevant to what the influencer industry is moving into, and pretty much has been, but really moving into more than now, is this pretty much blow up of the UGC creator, user generated content creator. And when it comes to being a UGC creator or just like a creator in general that is working with brands to not create content just on their social media, it's always great to have a portfolio. And what a portfolio is it's a collection of your past work experience, and pretty much a collection of just your work. So a portfolio gives a brand an idea of the kind of content that you will create for them. As far as what kind of content to include in your portfolio, I recommend including content from past brand partnerships. So really going back to that example of if you're pitching Delta Airlines, but if you've worked with United before, include your United partnership content in there. So if you created some stories with United, include those stories on there. If you created a YouTube video for them, include that YouTube video in there. I think that will be great for Delta to see. They would really appreciate that, for them to really see what type of content you can create for them. If you haven't worked with any brands before, or maybe you are pitching to Delta, but you've never worked with an airline before, include some content that you've captured for personal purposes. Like maybe you've captured some content while you were on a personal trip, and it's related to aviation or it's related to travel in general. Still include that, because at the end of the day, it's still content that you have created. Now, for your portfolio, it's going to be a lot longer to your media kit, of course, but I again don't recommend making it super long. If it could stay between 5 to 6 pages, that is awesome. Now, as far as the components of a portfolio, same thing here. Have a bio, have a headshot. If you are including your portfolio with a media kit, you don't have to have your bio and headshot because we will already have that from the media kit portion. Contact information here as well. What makes the portfolio stand out is that it's going to be divided up into content categories. So really going back to when I was talking about interests, or niche, as some people may refer to it, I recommend that you divide your portfolio up into categories. So if you touch on travel and you touch on beauty and you touch on wellness, let those different interests, or let those different categories have its own home in your portfolio. I wouldn't recommend like having it all together. Like keep it organized. It's great for us to see that on the brand side. Or say if you just cover travel, but you cover different areas of travel, then it's great to have subcategories. So I put an example here. If travel is one of your interests, and you want to have subcategories, some examples would be this is what destinations look like, this is what hotels look like, this is what spa experiences look like. They all pretty much fall underneath travel, dining, F&B, food and beverage as well will fall underneath here as well. And then the fourth component is content type. So just like the stock market, you want to diversify your portfolio with unique types of content. So some examples here would include YouTube, TikTok videos, Instagram stories, reels, carousels, blog posts, podcast episodes, news articles, the list goes on. Within those content categories, I recommend that you break it down based off of content types. And then here, a bonus will be testimonials. Of course, another bonus will be logo. If you have it, great. If you don't have it, don't stress it. Still pitch. It's not a make or break type thing. It's not the end all be all. So here's an example of a portfolio. So you'll see here how there's a bio. This looks a little bit longer than, no, maybe this is just about 100 words, but I wouldn't recommend having it longer than this. Okay, I think this is the perfect amount. It includes her role right up here. It includes her name. The next page, oh, it also includes a headshot. Sunglasses are on, wouldn't recommend that, but we're just going to go with it for the sake of this example, but I would recommend something that, of course, doesn't have your eyes covered. And it has her services here, a breakdown of what that looks like, some additional imagery over here on the side, which is always great for the sake of overall aesthetic. It looks nice. It looks presentable. Here is a breakdown of content types, and it's also broken down into content categories. So this is an overall beauty media, not media kit, portfolio. As you can see, it has Summer Fridays, it has Garnier, it has Pantene and MAC. These are all different brands that fall underneath beauty, but they all look great as far as Instagram Reels go, and really just dividing up the content types. Another one is photography. So this is a type of service, and then just a breakdown of different brands. And then videos, YouTube videos. And then, of course, here you have contact information, and that's pretty much it. A portfolio is very easy to put together. This is going to be a lot easier than Media Kit. However, at the end of the day, I recommend you don't spend a lot of time on this. I know creators that have spent like months on a Media Kit, and I'm like, why? Like, you still could be pitching to brands. So don't let this hold you back. Just know that having these materials is a great overall addition to pitching to brands. Now, in review, as far as different as far as a portfolio review, it's great for you to have your bio, your contact information, your categories, content types, your logo, and testimonials. Alrighty, so that is it. I told you I was going to speed through that part because I wanted us to have some time for Q&A. Just to let you know a little bit more about next steps. We are having another workshop that I'll be hosting in partnership with Wonderful. It's going to touch on our next live workshop. It's going to be our next live workshop, but it's going to touch on landing long-term travel brand partnerships, which is a fun topic. It's something that a lot of travel brands are starting to move into. So I recommend that you definitely sign up. I would love to see you there. It's going to be on September 21st. And then it's going to cover turning your passion into travel, turning your passion for travel into a career, and landing long-term travel brand partnerships and generating revenue month after month. So really excited about that. I also saw some questions about my group program. So yes, I have a signature group coaching program. Enrollment is currently open. So I do have enrollment periods throughout the year. This potentially will be the last one for 2023. So if you want to get in, I do recommend that you get in now. Enrollment is open until the following week on August 30th, so on Wednesday. This is a 4-month program. It's perfect for beginners as well as advanced creators who are looking to earn income traveling the world by working with brands. So I work with beginner creators. Rather you identify as a travel creator, or if you are a beauty creator that wants to work with travel brands. Great program for you. And I also work with advanced level creators, those who may have worked with brands before but have never gotten paid, or have never worked with brands in the travel and tourism industry. So this program really touches mainly on travel and tourism brands, and how to work with them and also get paid to do so. To tell you a little bit more about what it includes, we do monthly coaching sessions where basically you bring your questions, I will bring my answers. We also do group workshops. So this is something new that I'm bringing to the program where basically you'll have your weekly trainings and your modules with the course, and then we are going to gather together and go through it and do the implementing process together so that you are supported throughout that. You also have lifetime access to the curriculum. So as I mentioned, I work in the travel industry. I manage influencer campaigns. So the more I learn about the ever growing industry, the more I add new content into this program. So it is always, you can always expect it to be updated, and you'll always have lifetime access to it. So you can refer back to any of the new things that I add to the program. And then just some bonuses. You'll have a private student community for additional support. You'll have all, and this is my favorite part, you'll have all of my hotel, tourism board, as well as airline contacts. So you don't have to worry about doing your research. You're not sure where Delta Airlines contact is. You're not sure where Four Seasons contact is. I have them all inside my directory. I also have pitch examples and a checklist. Email scenario templates. So say if you don't know what to say back to a brand, or if you don't know how to raise a question while in communication with a brand over email, as far as how do I ask them to pay me, or how do I turn this collaboration into a paid one. I have a templates for you to use, as well as a before you hit send checklist to ensure that you have everything inside your pitch before you send it off to a brand. Alrighty. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining. I will stick around a little bit longer for Q&A. Also, if you have a media kit or portfolio, I am more than willing to review it and give you some feedback. You can drop the link inside the chat, or you can email it to me at hello@travelwithtinsley.com. So I'm going to share inside the chat the link to the program. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna get it. I see here Michelle said, are you showing us appears to be horizontal? Is vertical document preferred? Either or. I would say if it is included if it's included with a media kit, then if you want to keep the cohesiveness across the board, then you can just keep it as vertical, because most of the time a media kit is vertical. But say you're just sending them your portfolio because you're a UGC creator, or you don't want to work with them necessarily to create content for your social media, then horizontal is fine as well. That's a great question. I've seen both. I've seen vertical, I've seen horizontal. I get hung up on my low follower count, under 1K. I would rather just be an influencer than a blogger, but feel like I need to have the blog to get followers, not connecting with growing following thus far. You know, in my opinion, I feel like, and not to love my bloggers. We love the bloggers. It's definitely never going out of style. You go on Google and literally the first thing that pops up if you ask Google any questions is a blog. But I do feel like, as far as the influencer marketing space goes on the travel brand side, I can really only speak for travel brands because that's the industry that I've been working in for like the past 2 to 3 years. Before then it was food and beverage, so on and so forth. But on the travel brand side, we really aren't crazy about we like working with bloggers, but we love working with influencers a lot more. Like if you have an Instagram following that is solid and like maybe your blog isn't all that, we would still work with you. But if it were the other way around, like your blog is solid and like your Instagram following isn't all that, we might second guess it. So, in my opinion, of course, don't get hung up on your follower account. As I mentioned, what matters is who is in your following, not how many followers you have. What matters is who is your followers. Because if your followers, for example, going back to the luxury hotel example, if your followers makes over a certain salary per year and they literally are the type of people that will stay at this luxury hotel, 1,000, under 1,000 of them, so say if it's like, I don't know, 600, that's still a lot. That is a lot. You put 600 people in one room, that's a lot. So I wouldn't get too hung up on it. Like, of course, there's creators out there that have bigger audiences, but at the end of the day, what matters is who is in your audience, because there's a lot of creators that have millions of followers, but no one is in their audience that a specific travel brand would want to target. So we wouldn't work with them. And I've had to turn down creators with millions of followers before because of that. Thanks so much. Can we get a copy of the deck? Yeah, you'll actually get a copy of the not a copy, but the replay of this video, so you can be able to go back and see everything that is on the deck, as well as me teaching it. Is there any chance you might have a savings code for those of us here? A savings code for 1 second. I'm going to stop sharing. Is Rebecca here? Yeah, she is. Rebecca, I'm curious to know if it's okay if we go over maybe 5 minutes because we had a late start.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, just 5 minutes. Because I know we had a little bit of a late start. So 1 second, I'm just gonna drop the details about the Well Traveled Creator Academy inside the chat. And then of course, happy to answer any other questions that you have. What else? What other cues do we have? I'll share my screen again. Oh, I'm seeing here. Do you think you need a minimum number of followers to be taken seriously? I want to get started out. I'm under 1K followers. So I feel like I touched on this a little bit more, but I'm happy to expand on it. So I honestly recommend, if you don't 100% feel comfortable pitching to brands to work with them and you're under 1,000 followers, you can always go the UGC creator route. I think this works out a lot better, and this is actually what I recommend that my students do, because in the meantime, while you are working with brands, so UGC creator, just to talk about it a little bit more, you are creating Instagram reels still, you're still creating those TikTok videos, you're still creating those YouTube videos, but you are doing it for the brand to create on their own social media, to post on their own social media platform. So that is a better way to go if you have a lower follower account and you don't feel confident pitching to brands just yet, because you're still able to work with brands and actually get paid to do so, because the brands will be able to pay you for that content. And in the meantime, you can be building up your Instagram following so that you can get to a point to where you can work with brands as an influencer instead, or as well. So that's another way. Do brands buy UGC content from stuff just on your cell phone? LOL, because I am not. Yeah, they do. They do. So like what I like to compare this to is basically, I know it sounds crazy to think that a brand will pay you to like go a hotel, for example, will pay you to like go to their resort and like take photos at their spa and take photos at their pool and send it back to them for them to use on their social media. But yes, they actually will, because a lot of the times what is a lot cheaper for them is it's a lot cheaper for them to have an influencer do this for them, and they pay the influencer anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000, maybe a lot more. I've seen they pay a lot more even than to have an employee on staff and have to pay that employee a salary of, who knows, $50,000 or more. It's so much easier to just pay an influencer $2,000. So this is the reason why brands would, of course, would rather just pay the influencer $2,000 and have to go hire an employee to bring on their team. And even if that includes cell phone content. Yeah. Because really what the key when it comes to cell phone content is, and why it's a lot better than professional photography, is that it resonates a lot more with people. When people see professional imagery, they tend to think, well, how can I really resonate with this? Because at the end of the day, it is this is marketing. And it's kind of hard to see yourself as a consumer. It's hard for you to be able to relate to someone that looks perfect. I don't know, like think of like a skinny woman that's laying out on the beach, and it's with the perfect hair, the perfect husband sitting next to her. It's really hard for you to really be able to relate to that, opposed to like an influencer who like has these um features that society won't think that is perfect, but is shooting content on her phone. It just feels a lot more relatable. And believe it or not, when people are able to see themselves in the way that a brand is marketing their services, they're more likely to invest in it. I think a great example is like when brands partner with LGBTQ, anyone in the LGBTQ community, gay travelers, lesbian travelers, anyone that resonates within that community feels a lot more comfortable staying at that hotel after seeing that an influencer that also is within that community has worked with that hotel. Part of my niche I want to be in is keeping it real, showing what something is like without fancy equipment. Yes, love it. Yes, real experiences. That is what matters the most. We want to be able to relate. Sorry, I was just checking my email to see if I got any media kit or portfolios. I can hang out on here for about 3 more minutes. Yes, and to get back to Sherry's point. So there is a bonus or two that I definitely can offer you. But here's the thing. The thing is that I have a promo that's running right now for those who sign up for the Well Travel Creator Academy. You get a one-on-one call with me, and you also get a Getting Started Bootcamp. So it's not necessarily a discount code. However, it is 2 bonuses that are, of course, very high value. And also, it's a great way for you to kick things off in the program. So you get a one-on-one call with me. Prior to the one-on-one call, you'll fill out a questionnaire. So you'll basically let me know your goals, what have you been doing so far as content and brand partnerships goes. So as soon as we jump on a call, you basically we strategize. You pick my brain. You're able to really use the time on that call to get the answers that you're looking for to get started. And then also there's a 2-day boot camp where we dive into the main 2 things being content and social media for you to be successful in the program, because the program is very, very A through Z on working with travel brands. Like that's mainly all that we cover, and it goes very deep. It doesn't go very wide where it's like those programs, and of course we love those programs, but those programs where it's supposed to be all about travel brand, or all about brand partnership, shall I say, but like the first 3 modules is about mindset and like social media, and then by the time you get to like the last module, it finally gets to brand partnerships. This is what definitely, of course, sets the program apart. Every single part about the program is about brand partnerships, and what this two-day boot camp goes into detail about is it covers the prior things that's good to know, but not 100% necessary for you to work with brands. So we're going to talk about social media, how your social media should look like, some strategy, and we'll strategize, of course, about like content and some different ways for you to up your content game to really land those travel brand partnerships that you are looking forward to. We have about a few more seconds. Going once, going twice for last minute questions. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you all so much for joining. If you have any questions, my email's here. I'm happy to chat through anything. If you are interested in joining the program, you can also email me or DM me on Instagram. And of course, I hope to see you guys in the upcoming workshop that we have with Wonderful next month, all about how to land long-term partnerships with travel brands. Alrighty. Yeah, so you actually don't need a special code to sign up. You just sign up, and I pretty much know I know those who came from Wonderful, and I know those who came from the workshop series. Of course. My pleasure. Have a great evening. For the one who's in South Korea, have a great day. And I'll see you all later. Bye.